Is there any MP who doesn't want to be Prime Minister? Leslie Hoare Belisha, MP, 4th of January 1940. A year to the day after Churchill became Prime Minister, the House of Commons was blown to pieces by a Luftwaffe bomb. On the 10th of May 1941, the Speaker's chair and the front and opposition benches were crushed beneath a steep hill of smoking rubble. The MP Vernon Bartlett met Churchill clambering over it, his face covered with dust through which the tears that ran down his cheeks had made 2 miniature riverbeds. All that remained of Churchill's cherished chamber, which he was to tell the Norwegian Storting, "We pride ourselves," is the cradle and also the citadel of parliamentary government throughout the nations, was a mass of broken masonry, ashes, and the tangled remains of metal railings. An historic stage stood obliterated. Reliable records of the dramas and rituals enacted upon it seemed, at that moment, irretrievable. Then, in the 1960s, a tin of photographic negatives was discovered, which were to give a tantalizing glimpse into a vanished past. The 29 images are the only known record of the old House of Commons during a sitting. More than that, they captured a seismic moment, what A.J.P. Taylor called the splendid upheaval of the Chamberlain government. These unique photographs were taken illegally on 2 of the hottest afternoons of the unbelievably warm spring of 1940, during the Norway debate of the 7th and 8th of May. It was a breach of privilege to take pictures inside Parliament. If discovered by the Sergeant-at-Arms or one of his doorkeepers, Conservative backbencher John Moore Brabazon risked confiscation of his negatives and suspension. Not in the 88 years of Sir Charles Barry's chamber had a member violated this rule. Moore Brabazon had pioneered the art of snapping photographs from behind enemy lines. He was the first Englishman to fly. In 1914, he established a photographic unit for the Royal Flying Corps, and following the first gas attack at Ypres, made a map of the German trenches, diving low enough to identify the uniforms. At that time, he knew more about aerial photography than anyone in the world. 25 years on, startling developments in a new world war compelled him to pick up his camera again. He used a special Minox as issued to intelligence staffs, purchased from Latvia and nicknamed the spy camera. This was small, light, easy to hide. What became known as the Norway debate and was to be so significant to the fortunes of the British government and the Second World War began with a routine adjournment motion on Tuesday the 7th of May. The Prime Minister appeared in the Commons to defend the conduct of Britain's armed forces in Narvik, Namsos and Åndalsnes, and to answer some far-reaching questions about a calamitous military campaign that had been obscured by rumour, secrecy, and hopelessly optimistic press reports. After an ominous respite lasting 7 months, following Germany's annexation of Poland, the British Army in its first land battle of the war had engaged the Nazi enemy and been routed. The Navy, which had been fighting unrelentingly at sea from September 1939, had had to evacuate 11,300 troops from central Norway, with the eventual loss of 4,396 men. This stunning news had been delivered to Parliament by Chamberlain on the 2nd of May. In the fearful words of Vernon Bartlett, the German invasion of Britain seemed at this point almost inevitable, with foreign troops predicted to land in large numbers on British soil for the first time since the Norman conquest. It is important to emphasise that there was no expectation of a vote. The Conservative leader enjoyed a huge majority of 213 for his national government, and the opposition Labour Party under Clement Attlee was reluctant to divide the House at this precarious moment. Even though less popular with an increasingly anxious public, Chamberlain still appeared unassailable within Parliament. On the 7th of May, the reality for the majority of Conservative MPs was that there was no clear alternative to Chamberlain as Prime Minister. Neither was there any formal procedure whereby the party could dispense with its leader. The House was packed.